Greetings and welcome to Insights with Dr. Val-Addo. My name is Dr. J. Val-Addo, a theologian public, presently focusing on the past 500 years of African history on slavery. And today's presentation will seek to answer a question which has been formatted into two, based on the claim of a Caucasian professor of history in the US. And the first aspect of the question is, was slavery widespread and indigenous in African society before the coming of the Europeans? And the second aspect of the question is, were there some existing slave markets in Africa that the Europeans simply worked with? And this is going to be part one of answers that we're going to provide for this question that has been formatted into two. And we're going to look at the Hebrew scriptures in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7b, which employs all people with the statement, "In all you're getting, get understanding." In all our getting, we need to get understanding. And so we're going to answer from the understanding of the culture or the way of life and practices of the Gold Coast and the hinterland as described in English. Now, words are usually used in the context of a culture and their meanings within a timeline. And I'm going to give you an example. The word gay, as used in British English in the 1960s to 1970s, while this presenter was in school, was gay means happy in British English. And so we used to sing the song "Gone Are the Days When My Life Was Young and Gay." And it simply means gone are the days when my life was young and happy. So that is it. But gay in modern English is a relationship between two men, most times involved in unnatural sex. It is the same word, gay, used in the 1960s and the 70s, and also the same word used today, but not the same meaning. The meaning of the word gay has changed over the years. So when I say my life is gay, in this moment, people will understand me as being a gay, but I'm not a gay. And so I will not say I am gay when I'm saying I am happy. This example is to indicate that words also change in meaning with time. Now we're going to talk about whether slavery was widespread and indigenous in African society before the Europeans came. Now, we want to define slavery in standard English. Now, let's start with sociology. Sociology defines slavery as a stratification or classification into groups. And slavery is a system of such classification of people into groups in which one person owns another as he or she will own a property and exploits the slave's labor for economic gain. They possess virtually no power of their own if somebody is a slave. In US history, slavery refers to a condition in which individuals are owned by others who control where they live and at what they work. So the question is, by these definitions of sociology and US history, did Africans practice slavery before the Europeans came to Africa? And that is what we're going to answer. Now, we need to understand what were practiced in the Gold Coast before the coming of the Europeans. There are three words that has been accepted and used by historians and other academics, but mistaken as slavery in the Gold Coast by British authors. And these are servanthood, pawn, and vassal. Now, let's start with the servants. In the Gold Coast, in the local vernacular language, the female servant was called Afna, and the male servant was called Aqua. The plural for the male servants are Nkwa, and then the plural for female servants were Mfna or Mfna. Now, servants and maids in the Gold Coast during the British writers, historical writers, were guarded by rights. These servants had about at least 7 rights of the Ashanti servants and maids. In the Ashanti Empire, the servants had not less than 7 rights. 1, they had the right to marry. Number 2, own property. Number 3, have a servant or maid of their own. Number 4, they can swear an oath. Number 5, they can become competent witnesses. Number 6, they can become adopted member of the master's family. And thereafter, their descendants were so merged and they could intermarry with the master's kinsmen that only a few will know that they were previously servants. And as a result of that, the 7th right was a servant or servants could ultimately become heir of their master. So servanthood, whether male servants or female servants, Nkwa or Mfna, were not slaves in the Gold Coast at that time. Just as civil servants, public servants, and nannies in the Western world are not slaves. And I want to repeat that. We have civil servants and public servants and nannies in the Western world, but they are not slaves. They are public servants and they are civil servants, but not slaves. Now, let's go to the other word, which is awowa. Awowa, that means pawn. A pawn, according to the history writers of the Gold Coast, the meaning was a human being pledged as security for money redeemable when the debt was paid, unquote. Now, this is what we call awowa, or you put something down as a pawn. In our modern English, it will be collateral, and it serves as a security to whatever somebody owns. And when somebody take a loan and put up a collateral or security for the money that he had borrowed, that doesn't mean a person is a slave or will be taken as a slave. So in the Gold Coast, this person put up as a pawn can work for the lender or the creditor, and every work that he does was considered the interest on the loan until the loaner pays off the actual loan. So we concede that the pawn arrangements in the Gold Coast was not morally good, but it was not slavery as defined and practiced. Now, let's also go to the other word that was used, or the practice of the Gold Coast, and which the English writers of history use an English word for, was vassal. V-A-S-S-A-L. Vassal, that is in the local language, asomfo. Asomfo. A vassal is a holder of a land by feudal tenure. That means there is an overlord who owns all the lands, and subjects who live and farm on the land do so on conditions of allegiance and homage. And these are two important words, allegiance and homage. So somebody is an overlord who owns a whole piece of land, and people live on it and farm on it, but they pledge allegiance and pay homage to the person who owns it. Now, this was the practice in the Gold Coast. When one kingdom or state in the Gold Coast conquered another kingdom or state, the conquered one does 5 or 6 things. 1, he gives up its major or capital town to the conqueror to occupy, and or 2, he swears or pledges allegiance to the conqueror's overlord, who was always a king. Number 3, their king, the king of the conquered state or people, and their chiefs and people were demoted to the rank of chiefs, caretakers, and subjects. Number 4, their chiefs became caretakers of lands once belonging to them on behalf of the overlord conqueror, and cannot lease a piece of land to anyone without consulting him, because this is called stool land tenure system. Number 5, the conquered brings gifts of some of their natural and mineral resources annually to the conqueror. And number 6, he pays homage to the conqueror. That is, he shows public respect and honor at least annually to the conqueror and their kingdom or state before its king or paramount chief. The conquered chief and his people can only become free again and reclaim their independence only if they conquered back. So in essence, Val-Sage was not slavery in any way. We are using this to explain the culture and the practices of the people of the Gold Coast. And this has nothing to do with slavery. We will continue this video and draw our conclusions in the next video. And so you should expect it, keep watching it, and we will try to draw conclusion from the use of these 3 words in the culture and practices of the Gold Coast to show that the people of Gold Coast were never practitioners of slavery before Europeans came. Keep watching. God bless.